Hi, I'm Seth Nicholas.
I'm Jesse Pinkney.
And I'm Casey Wagner.
And our question is, how can esports continue to expand in popularity? The beginning of esports can be traced back to the 1972 Space War Tournament, a competition hosted by Stanford University and a game created by a group of students that attended that college. There were about 24 competitors in the tournament. It was played on the early versions of a computer called the PDP-1, as you can see in this photo.
Not only was this tournament groundbreaking for being the first recorded competition, but it was also the first time a prize had ever been awarded for something like this. Now, the prize was only a year's worth of subscription to Rolling Stone, but it's still worth noting for the fact that it really started a precedent of competitions handing out money and prizes for winning. The next time any competition like this took place was all the way in 1980 with the Atari Space Invaders World Championship. This tournament had over $10,000 in prizes for the winner, and due to that it garnered a lot of media attention, and it really started the ball rolling on advertisers being interested in putting money into this business.
One of the main reasons why this gained so much media attention was because 3 years prior to the actual tournament, the Atari 2600 was produced. This was the main console used for the actual Space Invaders tournament, and this was groundbreaking due to the availability to play at home rather than having to go to the arcade.
Now, with the Atari being such a popular home console, between families having friendly competitions between each other, many families wanted to show off their skill to more people and a variety of people. So this started the age of the arcade tournament scene, where people would go to arcades and face off against other people to show off which player has a better skill. Games, for example, they would play would be Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Killer Instinct.
As we enter the 1990s, PCs started becoming more common in homes and more commonly used as gaming devices. The increased power challenged developers to make more complex games and opened the horizons to new genres such as first-person shooters and real-time strategy games like Quake and StarCraft.
Due to the increased interest in the first-person shooter genre, the company Cyber Athlete Professional League was formed in 1997, which was the first time a company had actually been created using advertising dollars to support tournaments all over the world. This company was incredibly successful and spawned many copycat organizations that exist to this day. Their biggest success was the 2005 Painkiller World Tournament, in which a newly developed games publisher of Painkiller paid them a large chunk of money to do a world tour of stops all around the globe, in which they would hold championships in different countries, and they had a prize pool of over $1 million. This really helped push this into mainstream knowledge, as magazines like Time and People did big stories on it, and it really got the attention of a lot of major advertisers to look into it for the future.
Now, with the FPS genre increasing so well, people also started to create live streams. What live streams were able to do was it gave people the ability to stream the game that they were playing to people all across the world. So this helped a lot of players that would be in tournaments, or people who could not attend these tournaments, so that they'd still be able to gain a big fan base. So when they did go to these tournaments, there's still people who would be able to hype them up and cheer for them. Now, live streams also, what it would do for people is it increased the amount of viewerships to tournaments itself. Now, with the tournaments increasing, why is it so important that it increased? This means that people from all around the world are able to watch these tournaments, even if they weren't able to attend.
Now, in present day, there are more console-based tournaments, and as the technology increases, this makes it so developers can make more challenging games and has increased the genres by a plethora of new ones. And as the bits got bigger, so did the popularity, to where the visual mechanics have appealed to the masses.
The mainstream popularity caused several big players to take notice, the first of these being Red Bull. Now, currently, Red Bull is really considered to be the face of modern esports, with them pouring millions of dollars into tournaments all around the world, and generally just being involved in most major tournaments. But this wasn't the case at the beginning. They really just dabbed their toe into a few player sponsorships and team sponsorships. but them putting their name even on small competitions really boosted the esteem of esports and interested several other major companies, including Comcast and Time Warner, to begin looking into advertising. Due to the mainstream popularity, smaller communities surrounding less popular games began to get bigger and big enough to hold their own tournaments on their own, and more subcultures of the esports community were created. Now, this really opened it up for advertising opportunity, as marketers could selectively market to groups they wanted to. So instead of having to do a blanket sponsorship over a tournament that covered many different communities, all of a sudden they could specifically choose communities that would best like their product. This drastically increased the amount of money going into the support and built it up over time.
With player sponsorships, business also decided to create teams. And with teams where they grouped up a lot of the players that were previously sponsored by that one business, and it just gave them a brand so that they have a brand to follow with. Now, with brands, it's like when people wore the brand so they could rep their team, like how we would with the Seahawks, for example. Now, with them repping their team, it gave them the ability to, when they do go to tournaments, they're able to show off which team they want to win, and it just gave more hype to the crowd and makes them more pumped for whoever wins and whoever loses.
Now, historically, we found like one of the solutions were the increase of genres, whether you're into sport games or even just simple puzzle games, as well as the increased technological advances that have made this a mainstream source of entertainment.
For esports to like increase from a cultural lens, it'd be more like the company needs to focus more on the competitive side of their video games. So that would mean to make the game either more balanced or more fair to the player, but to also make sure that the game is still fun to watch for other people. And if the game's a lot funner to watch, they're able to bring in more people to play their games. And with more people coming in, that means bringing in more money. So developers can stop focusing on the competitive side and start working on like just game improvements in general for like, let's say, graphics or just more game content.
From an economic perspective, we found the main ways to increase esports as a business overall was to continue marketability of every aspect, whether that be the players as they gain popularity. You can market everything from the t-shirt or hat they're wearing to their shoes, to teams and events themselves, being able to add more advertising opportunity with either banners or advertisements on live streams. Generally getting advertisers more involved in the events themselves that'll only put more money into it and improve the quality overall. Also, with newer games that aren't very popular in the modern eye, getting game companies direct support in their competitive communities with money drastically helps getting a base community to grow from. And that was economically what we found.
Thank you. So I just have a couple questions for you guys. Jesse, describe how the content of the team presentation was changed as a result of group discussion.
Well, at first we were going to do a boring, plain old, everyone had their own 3 to 4 minute presentation all by themselves without really making it look better. So the ways that we decided to make that a lot better was we tried to make it more cohesive by making like, let's say I'll end it off, but we'll also pick it up with how I ended it. So like, for one example, I had, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Sorry. I think it was team sponsorships, and that was like it carried on to like how our ending was going to be, like a solution, for example.
Thank you. Casey, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem your group identified?
I think Jesse's did, because I never really thought about it from a cultural perspective, how culturally people would need to look at games differently than they did in the past in order to really consider it a real sport and to really get mainstream attention on it. It kind of needed to change people's perspective on how it was played. And I never really thought about that because I was just thinking from a money perspective of getting more money involved. But that really changed how I viewed the issue overall.
Thank you. And last, Seth, in what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
I think we were more cohesive this time than we were last time. Like last time we just waited to the very end to just put it all together and then fix our mistakes. But this time we kind of just went through it from the beginning, fixed our mistakes, and set it up.
All right, thank you.